Told you we'd be back. So, what I wanted to touch on. Did you guys see that fight between Sean O'Malley? That was nuts. Like, that was pretty crazy. If you guys aren't following this cat, you should definitely check him out. And I'll talk about the fight, but then I'll talk about something that happened after the fight. Before I talk about both of those two things, I wanted to just touch on his technique, which is probably the most hyped right now, and the most exciting to watch. Who wouldn't be stoked to watch him fight right now? And obviously because he's feeling good too. And the interesting thing about his technique, he's very, he talks about the flow. He talks about, the movement and his emphasis on speed, and he shows it. Now, if you go back and watch one of his really first fights, one of the fights that he took on like a day's notice, and the guy was very bigger than him, and you can see when he's moving, there's many instances, I'd say at least like 8 instances that I saw, where he dodges one way, and immediately, as soon as his opponent plants down, he lunges back towards that guy, right back on him. And this is a captured moment in fighting, which is basically where you are occupying that moment of rest that he takes when he plants, knowing that he missed, and before he can either breathe in to make the next move, not breathe in and just try to slide out, that moment is already taken because Sean's right back on him. And this is part of the flow. This is how he keeps his flow continuous in his side of the octagon. And it's incredible. And this is well crafted now, so you don't really see it. He kind of contains, he's not having to lunge so directly because he's able to compact it so much that the opponents don't even catch it. You don't really even catch it, and he doesn't ever really put himself right now in the position where he's so far away that he has to lunge a distance that he was having to do when he was up and coming. Now, Cody No Love had a fight too that night. The night when he got his, not the fight that I'm talking about, Sean's up and coming fight. I'm talking about the most recent fight where he got the knockout. That night, Cody had a splendid knockout too. I mean, I'd call him one punch. And I think that all occurred because there was something that he saw in Sean's technique. Fighters watch each other, like it's studying each other. And so I think Cody was able to shut down that fight so much earlier than it should have, because he saw the way that Sean was fighting. And that shows that the fight always is taking place, even as these fighters go into the octagon. They can change the outcome of the fight before they even step in. There's martial arts that can extend beyond what you can see, and I'm glad I can point these things out, because they can really make you see the world differently. And it's that balance, you know. Props to both fighters, all fighters that night. It was a great card. props to UFC for putting that together. It was a great night during a time when we could really use some good, figures for society, going at it. Like we should be supporting the idea of men wanting to contend with other men in a civilized way. It's very, very important, very important. And to see something like that take place, and to see these young fighters coming up with these new styles and these just new ways to win makes you feel like martial arts will always kind of have a spot, Well, cool. Get you in with something else next time.